Okay, hopefully you're able to hear me. But if you're on my Facebook page, let me get this. Then you will be able to also see this live. My name is Susan Johnson, and welcome to Unsolicited, where we break down fashion one stitch at a time. I have been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and this new thing came up, and I said, well, I'm going to do it live, and hopefully you guys will like it and watch. So, um, first of all, I want you to introduce myself. Again, this is Susan Johnson. I've created Unsolicited as a place for the sewers to get unstuck from beginner sewing. So if you've ever had problem with sewing, over the years, and especially those of you who've come from my era, 80s, 90s, in the early 2000s, learning how to sew, we learned in a different world then. So now we're in this digital world where all the resources are available to us, and we just got to figure them out or discover them. And that is what I want to do. I want to help you discover all the tools and tricks and tips and stuff that's available to you now in this digital age we live in. So, that is my heart. I have over 4 decades of sewing experience. You can check me out, Alterations Next Door on Facebook, as well as Unsolicited on Facebook, and on the internet. You can find all kinds of information about me, unsolicited.com. There's another Unsolicited that came post, but anyway, look for unsolicited.com or unsolicited sewing related things. Okay. So I have, like I said, I've been 4 decades of sewing. I'm a tailor. I do alterations. I do custom clothes. Have done custom clothing over the years, and now I want to get into teaching. So, YouTube, I believe, is going to be, or video is going to be my vehicle of choice. Um, Today, I want to talk to you about this question right here. Is there one pattern that can be used to make thousands of garments from it and also fit you? Well, the answer to that question in a nutshell is maybe so. But we're going to kind of discover that. I'm going to introduce it to you, and maybe some of you may already know about it, some of you may not. But I think it's intriguing nonetheless, and I'm going to give you my take on it. And hopefully, you'll get something from this today. I'm not going to be here long. I probably will talk for maybe an hour or present for about an hour or less. So that is my goal. But and hopefully the information will be valuable to you and you can take it in your on your sewing journey and grow. So this is the let me just lay it out for you the way this is going to go. I'm going to present all of the information to you, and at the end we can do a question and answer period. I won't be communicating with you during the presentation. I will just be presenting the information. So make sure you take notes. If you have any questions, take notes and refer back to where your question was, and I'll be able to help you. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. So let's see here. Let's see. I'm going to do a little change of screen if I can. My computer is a little slow on the uptake. So let's see. So what I'm going to be presenting is something new from sewist.com. If you're not familiar with sewist.com, they're a online pattern company based in Russia or Switzerland, I believe. However, they're a foreign-based web-based pattern company. Okay, and they produce digital patterns, all types. Lacala.co is the parent company. If you're familiar with them, they're the parent company to Sewist.com. Sewist.com is where you can create your own patterns. You can draft them yourself from scratch, or use their auto-generated pattern maker, and we'll talk about that too. But I want to specifically talk about the newest thing they've added to their pattern collection. Anyway, it's PATTARN. AR means it stands for augmented reality, and we'll talk about that at the end because that's something that's new to me and that I will test in future videos. But this first thing we're going to talk about. So, did y'all pray for me? Because We're about to do this. All right. So what you should be seeing is the sewist.com website. This is the main website. The first page you'll see when you open sewist.com, it is going to bring you to their pattern designer. This is an online sewing pattern designer, just as it says. It's a Sewist CAD. It's much like that Bootstrap Fashions, I think, has something similar, but Sewist.com and Lacala.co predates that that pattern company, I believe. I'm almost sure it does. But this is what we're going to talk about today. So, if you want to follow along with me, you can on your computer. Go to sewist.com, sewist.com. Go to the online designer tab and go all the way down to pattern. See, it's spelled PATTARN. Let me explain what this is. And this is what they said. It says pattern is a super universal and versatile sewing pattern. It was created by Lacala Sewing Patterns, and it's powered by Sewist CAD. Sewist CAD, like I said, CAD stands for CAD stands for computer aided drafting software. And most people who draft patterns use some sort of computer aided drafting software. But I think they kicked it up a notch where now you can just put in measurements and generate your own pattern in your size. Okay, I'm back. Now, you're familiar with pattern companies' fit patterns, correct? Hopefully you are. I see comments, but I'm just asking. I'm not going to answer. Um, if you're familiar with fit patterns, you're familiar with something like this. And this is from McCall's. I'm just not picking on McCall's. I'm just giving you the examples from what we had as far as resources for fitting ourselves in these commercial patterns, because that's always an issue. We're always having an issue with fitting. I mean, I don't care who you are, you have to alter a pattern. So if you don't master fit first, then it can be a little bit challenging and a little bit discouraging when it comes to creating your garment, because you're excited about doing something cute and trendy or whatever. But if it doesn't fit you, you're not going to wear it, and then you spend so much money on your fabric and your patterns and all the things and all the accessorizing and then it doesn't fit. So, but McCall's did try to answer that issue by giving you a fit pattern, showing you this general one. It just, you know, helps you to fit their bodices, their sleeves, their skirts, blocks, all of them, right? And it gives you tips on how to do that, how to modify them, which was great. I've used it myself. I have one here. That's the pattern that I have, and I also have another one that's for the dresses, bodices, and maybe skirt patterns that you would need to fit. Okay, and what happens is with the fit pattern, then you'll adjust the pattern to your size. So you'll make sure that the all the on this through the other ones. So that's what we've been doing. There's also a pair of pants. That's a fit pattern if you didn't know. That's McCall's 71, 74, 15. And the other one was McCall's 72, 79, if you're taking notes on that. Because I know that some of you are going to not want to go digital. So you want to still stay in the traditional way of fitting. So I'm giving you these patterns so that you can actually be successful with them if you don't want to use the digital patterns. Because some people don't like PDFs. So um, let's see, but there's a pants pattern block also that you can make shorts, pants, culottes, all lengths of pants, and you can make alterations to them, adding pockets and adding different elements to them as well. And they are McCall's, of course. This is Palmer Plesh, by the way, brand that brought this to McCall's. Okay, but there's all kinds of garments you can make from these patterns, and they show you how to alter them to fit you. So you can use those or choose something else. And today in 2021, I think most sewists want the quick and dirty. I being one of them. So, and I feel like this is our time for the self-taught sewist who is ambitious in her choice of patterns, in her choice of design, in her choice of everything. When it comes to sewing, this is for you. You saw the fit pattern from yesterday. This is the fit pattern for today, and it's 10 times better, I believe. And I'm strictly giving my opinion on this. Lacala and Soas are not paying me a dime to do this. I just feel I believe in their product, and it's because it's worked for me, it's worked for my clients, and I saw the value in it really early on, actually. So I wanted to share this with you, and here we go. So this pattern, like I said, it was created by Lacala Sewing Patterns, and it was drafted on with the SOAS CAD. It can be used for thousands of garments. It comes it, it comes made to measure. So when you order it with your size, all of your measurements. Your well, actually, it takes the bust. Let me show you that bust, under bust. Excuse me, the height, bust, under bust, waist, hip, and full hip measurements. Then you can convert. Make sure that you have the inches indicated here. If you're in the U.S., if you are on the metric system, you can leave it on centimeters because that is the default. Okay, so but this is these patterns are royalty free, and you can sew with them and sell them. You just can't sell the pattern. Okay, I believe you can sell what you make from, like, if you use this as a block and you change the pattern using the block, you can sell the altered or augmented, different pattern that you created from it. You can do that, but you can't sell these as is on as your own. Okay, so it comes in several formats, which is I mentioned. It helps you. It calculates yardage. There's a place where I'll show you that as well, and you can adjust the ease on this. Now that part I wasn't able to figure out, but we'll see if we can dig into that. They have instructions on how to assemble the pattern pieces, but let me tell you, it is of a simplistic nature, meaning that you're only going to be shown how to assemble the pieces as they are shown. If you do any altering and changing to these patterns, which we are going to be doing, then you'll need to know how to assemble them. Okay, yourself. You need to know construction techniques or have a good understanding around. And I do have solutions in which to help you with that. But as you can see, it's $6.95. It's on sale right now. Um, and it defaults to your language based on how you signed up. Now, when you register, and that's what they say, register instead of sign up or log in. When you register for your account, it will ask you what language you speak. So it'll put that in here and make sure that all your information is in English or whatever language you speak. Um, so here it shows the formats, the PDF, and plus augmented reality pattern blocks. So those are the two formats for this. It has standard sizes, just as you would get in a typical pattern company's sizing. It has standard sizing now. So you can use the sizing. Of course, if you click on one, I'm going to click on, let's say, a medium. It populates the measurements automatically based on their standardized size chart. Okay. Now, if you choose that, you can choose that because you can look here and see whether or not these numbers match up with your size, because you've already taken your measurements, right? You probably would have done that before doing this. Um, and you can also tweak it. So if I wanted this to be 38, it actually then becomes, I'll hit enter. I can tweak that, and it'll change just that. Oh no. Oh no, it won't. It doesn't do like the Lacala pattern. All right, that's something I learned. But so so what you will have to do is input your measurements. Now I have my measurements pre-saved. Um, and I hope that didn't confuse you, by the way. But you can click on this and actually, if you click on the measurement, then that's what you're going to get. So you can't change that if you choose the standard sizes, okay? But you can input your own sizes, and I told you that before also. You can import your own sizes. Now I have mine pre-saved. If I didn't have it pre-saved, I can still type in individual sizes here. My height in inches, my bust, under bust, waist. Yes, I'm a plus size girl. Hip and full hip. So all of that's populated. Now there is a place here in the program where you can put your sizes. It's underneath SOASCAD, so that's where all the drafting happens, right? So you have a patterns library, a manual, documentation, size guide, and my sizes. So you can input it here. I'll show you that. There's a little place that you can add. Now, if you were a person who sewed for other people, or you had, like, say, yeah, if you have a business and you're sewing for multiple clients, you can put multiple sizes in here. And so you have your design created, or at least you want to do your pattern blocks, which is what this is. You want to have your pattern blocks for each and every person. You can have them all individually printed just for them. And that's the cool part of this. It saves you so much time. All right, so this is where you put the sizes in. You'll hit the plus sign here, and it will give you a little form to fill out, much like what you just saw on the other page. And you can put a name here for the person or the size that you want to place in here. And so every pattern that you generate for that name will have those measurements. So that is the size situation. So once it's populated, then your pattern is really ready to go. Make sure you have it in inches. Let me take that back. I gotta put it in. Hold on. Let me give it a second. All right, there we go. I don't know what that was. There's some bugs in here. Let me just tell you, there are. This is, I believe, a beta program because there's still some things that they need to work out as far as user experience here. And I think they're doing a good job of getting there, but they still have some things to work out here. So if you're a novice at navigating anybody's website, then slow your roll, take your time with this. Okay. All right. So here, down here, you can select your format. Now, I know up here it says the formats is PDF and augmented reality, but however, there are more. And I want to show you. Let me see if I can get that where you can see it. So all of these formats. So everything. So these are like European formats, and we can also use AO in the U.S. If you have a print company that can print large format printing, you can use the AO and have the pattern printed at a maybe a architectural firm's printing company that prints architectural types of documents and papers and posters type of printing. So, or you can send it off to print shops. And I'm sorry, I don't have the print shop information. But however, all of your options are here. You can choose letter trimless or the regular letter. And for those of you who are familiar with PDF patterns, that's the options you typically would choose is letter. All right, let's get into the patterns themselves. You see the look. You see that there's a dress here. You see that there's a dress with a bodice with different necklines. You see that there's a bell sleeve here. You see that there's a princess seam here, and then there's a dart waist on this side. So it's just like trying to show you all of the options you have in this one pattern. And those little lines next to these little dotted and dashed lines next here are the links in which is the links that are built into each of these patterns. Okay, and I'm going to show you them. So you should be able to see this. Okay, this is your bodice pattern, the front bodice pattern with darts, and you have 3 neckline options. I want you to see the little dotted lines here. You have the jewel neckline, which is the narrower neckline here, which is typical for, excuse me, a bodice block front piece. Okay, the jewel neckline. But they also give you a nice scoop neckline, which is deeper here, and they also give you a V-neck. And they also show you all of the dart rotation lines. Now, if you're not familiar with pattern drafting, I'm not going to go whole detail into that, but these lines that radiate and end at different points on the pattern, these are lines in where you can rotate the bust dart and the waist dart to any of those lines and lines in between that you don't even have marked. But it's a great place to start when you want to try to play around with pattern drafting and manipulating patterns. So this is the bust, front bust pattern. I mean, excuse me, front bodice with darts. Okay, there. Let's see. This is. Let me see what's. Okay, so it's for this pattern. It actually cuts. It is cut on fold, but of course you can modify that if you wanted a seam down the front or a zipper down the front of the bodice of a dress, jumpsuit, um, top, whatever. You just add the seam allowance here. Okay, so that's A. All right, and here's the front bodice with princess seams. There's two pieces to that, of course. No, not these patterns you're familiar with. Okay, same thing on the princess seams. You get three different necklines: the jewel neckline, the scoop neckline, and the V neckline. All pattern markings are here. Back bodice with darts. So the back bodice also has some rotation lines here you can play around with to get that French dart. I mean, just get some nice designs out of this. All right. Like, I mean, can we see the possibilities of this so far? I'm just saying. Back bodice, but the key thing is this will fit you. This will be based on your pattern, your measurements. This is something you don't have to figure out for the measurements and fit. Well, excuse me, the fit is something you don't have to figure out yourself. You can pull that pattern out, sew it up, and it would fit you to a greater degree than your commercial patterns. All right, so the back bodice with the princess seams, same thing. You got the same neckline option. Well, you got a couple of neckline options with this one, but you can also incorporate a V back if you wanted to. You can just add a line here and add your seam allowances back, and you have a V back. But so, and then now we have straight skirt. Now I hope you can see the lines here because I want you to know, um, and this is like every length of skirt you could ever want in a straight skirt. There's a micro length skirt, mini skirt, short skirt, above knee skirt, knee length skirt, below the knee length skirt, midi skirt, maxi skirt, and ankle length and full length. And those first three lines are the comfort length for a top right here, and the hip length for a top right here, and also tunic. That could be a tunic. And also they give you a pattern, pocket pattern as well, and they show you how to place that pocket pattern on this pattern. I mean, really, there's so many options with this. It's amazing. So the next thing is the skirt with princess seams. Okay, this is that panel skirt. So this is a four-piece skirt. So they've taken the back of the skirt and split it down the where the darts are. So the darts would have been right here. The darts would have been right there. So they split it at the dart all the way to the hem. Same thing on the front pattern piece, split it from the dart all the way to the hem. And so you'll have a four-piece. Now, A and B over here are the facings, I believe. Okay, yeah, the princess skirt pocket bag. That's A. That's a pocket bag. And B is an optional skirt pocket side. So that would go over here. You see how that shape fits this one right here. So that would be the pocket on the inside, and that would be the pocket that's attached to this opening right here. Okay, and that would be the part that you see at the back right here. All right, I hope that makes sense. You would cut the main skirt right along this line to match up with that behind it. They added that, so that's a pretty cool addition too. Now this is an A-line skirt, no explanation needed. We know A-line skirts, and of course you have the multiple lengths as well. Yeah, and they have a pocket for that. Of course, you can add different type of pockets. You know that too as well. Now this is a half circle skirt with 6/8 panel skirts with optional inseam pocket. All right, so you have the front center. See the fold line right here, the fold mark. You have the C is the front side panel, half circles for the half circle skirt, and you have the D, the back center back, and of course you have a pocket. All the links, all the links. We love a circle skirt, so just think of that circle skirt pattern with this basic bodice up here in any configuration that you want, and then we'll add the sleeves, which we haven't seen yet, but which would make a cute outfit even sleeveless. So that's your panel skirt, circle skirt. All right, well, half circle skirt. Now they also include facings with armholes and necklines already built in, and each one matches the neckline shape for it. So this is the jewel neckline shape. This is the scoop, and that's the V neckline. So, and then the back is the same. Only thing you would change is this line right here if you wanted to drop the um, the back neckline to accommodate the V neck that has the wider neck. Okay. All right. So facings, same thing. We all match up to specific um, fronts, the V, the scoop, and the jewel neckline. We're going on to the sleeves. Now this is that, I call it that old timey sleeve that has the dart here. You can eliminate that dart. You can use this sleeve. This is the basic straight sleeve with different lengths here. Four lengths include the mini cap, which is this right here, the cap sleeve, which is this line, 1/8 here, 1/4 here, 3/8 here, somewhere in here, 1/2, 5/8, 3/4, 7/8. Full sleeve, we're going on down here. Full sleeve lengths. You have several lengths of sleeve in a basic one. You have a flared sleeve. Now we love a flared sleeve, don't we? I mean, give me a puff at the end of my sleeve all day. So it's already slashed and spread for you. And all the links here, you have the same on this the wider one, which is a C. Just a flared sleeve. Um, very easy, and they all fit those bodice blocks. The bodice block in your size. It'll be all once the pattern is generated. Everything should go together easily and seamlessly, and that has been my experience with these patterns. Okay, the sleeve with gathers and cuff. So ooh, just a regular sleeve that has a little bias binding here. That's this one. It's just a straight sleeve that has a little cuff and has a little gather and has a little opening on the side for the button when you button it close. That's this sleeve. You can modify the sleeve however you want, um, but it's really easy. Now the jumpsuit straight pants, that's what they call it. Of course, these are pants that will work for a jumpsuit, is what they're meaning, and also work for just a straight pair of pants. Of course, you would draft your own waistband, and they do have a belt here, but that belt is just a regular belt, not a waistband, but it definitely could be used as a waistband, or maybe that's their term for waistband. I'm not sure. But these pants is just a straight leg pant. Let me tell you, you can, well, I'll get into that later, but just a straight pair of pants. You can add pockets. You can add a front. See, it does not have a front placket, but that's an easy thing to add. I mean, yeah, the fly. I'm sorry, but that's an easy thing to add to a pattern. You can Google that and find instructions on how to add a fly to a pair of pants. Same thing with back pockets. If you want back pockets, there's stuff out there, guys. So nothing else needs to be said besides you can get all of these links out of this one pair of pants. How many pair of pants do you want to make? But that's generic peplum. That's the back, and this is the front that overlaps with the curve in the front. Very cute though. And even with this piece, you can change it to a longer peplum. You can slash and spread it to a wider peplum. You can slash it and make a pleat here and here, make it a pleated peplum. Lots of options with that. And then there's the belt. So now you can see what the pieces would look like. All of that, all of those pieces that I explained are shown to you. This is that circle skirt flare. I'll see how all of them, they're showing you how seamlessly these patterns would fit together once they're assembled. And that's I know if this is a line drawing, but it's true. And you can see how narrow the pants are. Of course, you can make a wider leg pant, or you can go into their patterns and pull a wider leg pant for yourself. All right, so we're going to go to the instructions. Okay, these are the instructions. Hopefully it's not too bad, I don't think. Um, so this is what I was reading off to you and let you know what this is. It was made with a couple of countless sewing patterns and powered by Sew It's CAD. You can read up all about it. Now you can download this. Now when you go into the website and click on pattern underneath the web designer, the instructions are right there where I showed you I clicked from. You can download that before you even purchase this. There's 38 pages of it, so just keep in mind maybe double duplex that, put it on double sided. So here, I'm not going to go over all of this. I decided to just do this in a quick little overview as I did to show you what each pattern has, but I'm going to just highlight some things. And I have the pattern blocks. We already talked about them. All of them included are all of these. Those are your that's your pattern. Everything you see there are your patterns, right? That come with it, including the pants and the belt, all of it. Quite a lot. Here is their universal mix and match sewing pattern grid. Excuse me. They're showing you for each piece, I guess, if you're going to make a dress, a top, a pair of pants, a skirt, a jumpsuit, which features you can have on each of them. So you can, the jewel neckline works for dresses, tops, and jumpsuits. I don't have to go through all of that, but that's sort of showing you in a nutshell how many pattern combinations you can make in general. And if you're good with making all of these, let's say on the basic level, what could you possibly do if you learn a little bit of pattern drafting skills, right? To change them a little bit from what they are now. It's crazy. You can do it yourself. All right, so that is the patterns are made to measure. We talked about that. Of course, you put in your measurements, and you get a pattern that is made to fit you. Let's see. So it gives you recommendations on fabrics in general. This is where I think the newer sewers will probably say, "Well, I don't know what fabric to make." Let's let's just say if you're going to create any garment, and most likely you're creating something you've already seen, or if you designed it yourself, you kind of need an understanding around fabric. Period. But if you've something you've already seen that someone else is wearing, go and find it in the store that's similar, something similar to the silhouette that you want to make. See what that fabric looks, feels like, and what type of drape it has, whether it's opaque, whether it's a woven, a knit, or whatever the characteristics of that fabric is. And that's your education on what fabric to make, what fabric to use for the garment you want to create. Because only you know what you want it to look like in the end, but you need to still, pick the right, a decent fabric for your design. Okay. All right. So notions in general, it's very simple. Zipper. You didn't see anything crazy like buttonholes or anything like that. This software assumes that you can do all the other stuff, right? But it is giving you just the basic stuff. But it assumes that you can add overlap for buttons or zipper. You can add pockets. You can add different other design elements. This is just to get you to fit and get you some basic patterns out, right? You can get some basic stuff done. Um, So seam allowances, now this is the rule across all of the collar patterns. I believe all of them are like this. They have 3/8 of an inch seam allowances on all edges except for on the sides and the shoulder seams and the center back seam for the zipper installation. And also the hem of the skirts are 1 inches to 1.5 inches deep. Okay, that's general on all of them. You can measure that to find out. And so if you're doing any sort of pattern changing, I'm going to show you as an example down below. But if you're changing the pattern by length or anything like that, so if you're changing the length, just be sure to add your 1 inch or 1.5 inch or whatever seam, whatever hem length you want to add. Make sure you add that seam allowance to the bottom. Okay, that hem allowance to the bottom. So here, let's see. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger. Sure can. You can see it all. All right, here it says attention when cutting pattern blocks for additional styles, lengths, skirts, sleeves, whatever. Remember to add seam allowances back along the cutting edge. Now that's what I just said, right? All right. Fabric requirements. Now you can, there's a fabric estimator online. I'm not going into that. There's a link here you can click and find out all about that. All right. So I gave you some tips on that. And this is what I went over with you, these pieces. And here is where they're just giving an example of if you do use one of the pre-drawn necklines, be sure to add that seam allowance. And that's how they're showing you how to do that. They give you instructions on how to do that. They remind you that the seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch at that point, and so on and so forth. Same thing with the back of the princess seam. I mean, this princess seam bodice here. Just read that. All of this is in the instructions. Okay. This is the neckline. Excuse me, the facings that are available if you're going to have a sleeveless garment. Because actually, it does cover up the seam of the neckline. All right. So definitely, you can use for both. Let's see. All right, so moving on, I've explained the skirt lengths that you have available to you, and these are them. Uh, Here's the length. Like, this is the example they're giving. This is on page 16. This is giving you an example of how to choose when you're choosing the length for your skirts or pants or um, yeah, skirts or pants. So the lines are drawn for the different lengths that you have to choose from, or you can use any line in any space in between that too. There's no hard and fast rule about that. But this is an example of how you would draw your new line here. I mean, sorry, cut off your pattern right here. But before you cut it off, you're going to add a seam allowance, which is here. And that seam allowance for the hems is 1 inch to 1.5 inches. And then you end up with a pattern like this over to the right, that third piece over to the right. Um, so then that's the one you would either trace off, however you want to create your pattern, you can trace it off and then cut it out. Okay. The fusible interfacing is what they suggest for these patterns. That's a suggestion if you, as the designer or sewist, have your own ideas about how you want to finish your garment, and that's part of the garment finish. Let's see. It tells you how to lay out the fabric. All of that's elementary, so I'm not going to go through all of that. And then here's where it tells you how to construct the garment. And these the instructions are general instructions. They are just showing you how to assemble each piece. This is something you get in your traditional patterns. Well, excuse me, give you suggestions on how you can assemble their patterns. So take note of these techniques. Some of them may be something that you don't do already, and maybe you can learn some new ways of constructing your garments. So pay attention to those. And they're showing you here, remember that pocket piece, that was that extra piece. This is showing you how to assemble that and create that slit pocket on that paneled skirt, the skirt that had the different panels. So that, let's see, is on page, if you're interested, think that was page 19, 19, 20, page 20. All right. All right. So this is it. But the last, that's more construction techniques. Nothing that's going to shock you, I don't think. So then there's the rest of the assembly. And just go through the steps. You can see how they go step by step. Now, construction of garments does matter. The order in which they're put together, it sort of does matter. So you can take notes there. And also, when you're using commercial patterns, follow the instructions as much as you can to the letter, unless you know how to get around doing it the way they suggest to do it. But be confident or comfortable with the way they suggested, because it's tried and true. All right. All right. We're going down. This is okay. This is the vent, and to show you how to sew the vent of the skirts, the straight skirt, that little vent back here in the back. It shows you how to sew it. So that's a good thing to know. Zipper installations, nothing unusual there. This is sleeve cap, how to sew that, how to sew the cuff onto the bottom of that straight sleeve. So step-by-step instructions on that. Then that's sewing in the sleeve, sewing darts, more information. What I'm trying to get to, okay, here's where they give you steps how to put your pattern pieces together. Excuse me, your pattern sheets together, your tiled sheets, the ones that comes out of your printer, shows you how to assemble those. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about, and that's going to be the end of this episode of Unsolicited Live, is the augmented reality part of these patterns. So you have one option. Well, excuse me, you have two options. You have one option is to print the pattern at home, right? Or print it at the print shop, however you're going to get it printed in a physical pattern. But you also have this augmented reality. Now, this is something new, and I'm not going to go in a lengthy explanation of it. I'm just going to overview it because I haven't dug deep into this yet. And I think it'd be great for another episode. So we'll try it later. The augmented reality patterns require that you install their Vector viewer. It's a viewing software so that it reads the QR codes um, of the patterns, so that the patterns can be projected onto through your phone, excuse me, because you're going to use your phone or your iPad. You can also use an iPad or that type of device as well. So it says here system requirements. um, but this is the printout. This is the marker. So you'll have a marker that comes with the pattern. You'll print that out. It's 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. It looks something like this, but it has code built into it, like a QR code, right? So, but this is AR code. I assume augmented reality. What does Q mean? But anyway, we're gonna go. So once you print that out, that little piece, I'm gonna show you in the picture, and I'm gonna skip it, skip it, skip it. This is a sample where you can test that. But let me skip. It's gonna create an object file, and the object file, that little piece, is read by that software. And if you can see the phone in the person's hand, you can see the silhouette of the pattern there. But on the table there with the fabric, all you see is that little sheet with the code on it. So this is revolutionary, I would say, when it comes to pattern drafting. It's paperless except for that little corner right there. And let me tell you that this works. In just a brief read that I did on this, conceptually I can get it, because as long as that paper stays stationary. And I was just concerned, like, why is she holding it in her hand? Wouldn't she put it on the phone holder? You don't need a phone holder. You can move that phone all over the place. As long as it's pointing at that, it can read that QR code. That pattern image stays exactly where it is. You get it? It stays exactly where it is. So they won't have any slip ups with tracing unless that pattern paper moves. So they have to secure that paper down, making sure it doesn't move. But that image that is superimposed over it digitally,
doesn't move. So you can just trace away. And each time that you wanted to trace a pattern, you do it that way. Doesn't matter how large the pattern is. And this is what I was thinking. I was like, how are they going to do it if the pattern is pretty big and the phone is so little? But the pattern never moves. It'll always be in the place it needs to be in as long as the paper is stationary. But that's what I'm going to end right now, because that's a whole nother hour. And I'm going to do that one later, but it'll be later because it's not really something I think my audience wants to know about in total. So that is it, guys. We made it through here, and hopefully you will share this. I hope you had a chance to share this with the people that you know. Thank you, Tammy. I'm glad you liked it. Let me put that up there. Tammy said this was great. Thank you, Tammy. I really appreciate you being here. Like I said, I appreciate you guys for being here. Wasn't it great though? I think that it's been a long time coming because everything's been so geared toward technology and advancement and all of that stuff. And I was like, well, it's the sewist time too, and this is our time to do things a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. So going forward, I have a link in the profile. The description of this video. You can click the link to connect with me if you would like to work with me. Anyway, guys, I really appreciate y'all being here. I'm excited about this. I'm going to be talking about this for the next few weeks to come, because I want people to come in and take part of this, because it's going to be epic, extraordinary. If you didn't get any indication by what you just saw, then wait till you see what I put out in content coming up. So, to expand your sewing mind. But anyway, I gotta go. I'm gonna leave y'all with a blessing. Um, you know, I trust in the Lord for everything, and I'm learning to do that more and more. And um, I believe that this is a path that He's leading me on. But hopefully, that you guys also will trust Him too, and because you're gonna need Him with all the stuff we're gonna learn. But anyway, I want to just say that may you be blessed, your families and households be blessed. May there be room or space in your life for something like this, that will, help you be a better sewist and stop getting frustrated and stuck. So I believe that your time is now. So if you do so, also click the link in my description and sign up. So, okay, God bless y'all.